Hello, and welcome. This video is a walkthrough of how I make my latest pattern called the Flatterer. I do want to note that I am well aware that there are many circle bag patterns out there, but I still had to make my own because none of those are as large as this one. This bag is about 15 inches by 15 inches by 5 inches in its finished form. And it's got lots of large pockets and some decorative elements that are not on other circle bags. I also do not recommend doing this bag on a domestic machine if you are using thicker materials such as vinyl or leather. In preparation, if you are using thinner fabrics that require interfacing, you will want to fuse this on first. You should also add all of the stabilizer bits to the pieces that they go to. However, if you are doing the front zipper pocket, you will want to make sure that you cut out the box at the top of the pattern before you fuse it. The reason why I have this box is because it makes it a little bit easier to install the zipper without having to cut through it while you're installing the zipper. You will also want to decide if you are adding the optional backpack attachments or not, because you don't want to cut those out if you're not going to need them. So now if you're ready, let's get started. Starting off, draw a line down the center of each of your fabric pieces on the wrong side. If you'd like, you can also add double-sided tape down the center before folding the edges in. Make sure that once you have the decorative straps done, you set them aside and do not stitch them. You absolutely do not want to stitch them unless you want double stitches when you finally go to install it. Top stitch down the long sides of both of the anchors. Sometimes I like to add a few extra stitches just for decoration, but also to help with the stability. And once you've completed your top stitching, go ahead and grab your hardware. You're going to need the two 1-inch D-rings and the 1.5-inch ring for the anchors. Slip the larger ring over the 1.5-inch wide anchor and stitch the short edges together. Next, take the longer anchor, fold it in half, and cut it right down the center. Add 1 D-ring to each and stitch the short ends together. And now you can go ahead and set those aside for later and grab your strap or straps. For each strap that you are making, you will need a slide adjuster, 2 hooks, and 4 rivets. On all 4 ends of the straps, you are going to mark your rivet placements at 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/4, 2 3/4, and 3 3/8. This is also listed in the pattern. Once you have all of your markings, go ahead and grab your hole punching tool and punch those holes through. Next, you need your strap slide adjusters. Slip it in one end and out the other, and add your rivets. Once you've installed your rivets, grab a hook and slide it on the open end. Go ahead and feed the open end through the slider and install the second hook. Once you are done with your strap or straps, go ahead and set those aside. And if you'd like, you can make a strap holder. The instructions are at the end of the pattern. You can also add decorative strap ends if you'd like. Go ahead and set those aside and grab the pieces for the decorative straps for the gusset. Taking the three shortest pieces, you are going to want to mark a line at 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches, 4.5 inches, and then on the opposite side again at 1.5 inches and 2.5 inches. You can add double-sided tape in the edge boxes of each strap. Next, take the two longer straps and you are going to go in from one end and mark a line at 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches, 4 inches, and 8.5 inches. Next, using one of the shorter straps, grab an O-ring, remove the double-sided tape, and slip the O-ring over the end of the strap, making sure that it rests within the space in the second box. Remove the double-sided tape and fold the end over until it meets the line in the center. Add a ring to the opposite side, and then grab another strap and continue to make a chain until you have used all of the pieces. Make sure that you put the longer straps on last, one on each end, and that you put the O-ring in the small second box and not on the opposite end. Now on the outer sides of the straps, remove the double-sided tape and slip a D-ring over the end. Tuck the edge of the strap back so that it meets against the edge of the other side. Once finished, go ahead and set it aside for later. Next, grab the exterior slip pocket piece and one of the lining pieces, as well as the piping if you're adding that. At this point, I didn't already have my piping ready, so I made it on the spot. If you would like to learn how I make my piping, I have the piping video I made linked below. Take the piping and lay it flat edge to flat edge on the right side of the exterior pocket piece, and you can either clip it if you want to or don't, and then baste it into place. Now take both the exterior and the lining pieces, place them right sides together, and baste them together along the flat edge. Now flip the layers so they are right sides out, and then press or pinch or whatever you need to do to get it so that everything lays flat. Then go ahead and top stitch across the flat edge underneath the piping and baste around the rounded edge. Now grab your back exterior panel and lay your new pocket over the right side. Line them up and baste around the rounded edge of the pocket. Go ahead and set this panel aside for now. The next part of the instructions walk you through how to install a zipper pocket in the front panel, but I did not add one on this bag, so you will see the same process when we do the zipper pocket for the lining. Next, we're going to do the interior lining pocket, so grab the two remaining lining pocket pieces for the slip pocket, as well as the trim and the divider if you choose to install those. Placing the two pocket pieces right side together, baste across the flat edge at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now open up the pocket and flip it face down. This will make it a little bit easier for you to press the seams flat before folding it so that both right sides are out. Using a little bit of a rolling and squeezing technique with your fingers, you can press your seams a little bit flatter before clipping them in place. Now clip the rest of the way around the pocket and baste all edges. If you are not installing the top trim, you can just top stitch across the top edge. Next, take your trim piece, Draw a line down the center in the long direction and toss on a little bit of double-sided tape if you're so inclined. Lay the flat edge of the pocket along the line in the center of the trim, leaving a tiny little gap between the top of the fabric and the line itself. The size of the gap greatly depends on the fabric you're using. If you are using a thicker fabric, you're going to want to leave a wider gap. If you are using a thinner fabric, then you're going to leave a more slender gap. When you are satisfied with the placement, fold the trim over the edge of the pocket. Make sure that the ends are lining up properly so that you know you've got full coverage on both sides. Then go ahead and top stitch it. Now go ahead and top stitch. Now grab a lining main panel and lay your pocket over it. Just like you did with the exterior pocket, you're going to line it up and baste it into place. Once you're done with that, fold the piece in half and find your centers. Using a ruler and a removable writing tool, make a line down the center of the pocket. Now take your pocket divider piece and, just like every single other strap we've ever done, mark a line down the center and then add some double-sided tape if you'd like, or grab some clips and fold the long edges in towards the center. If your machine can handle it, I would recommend running another line of double-sided tape along the back side of this strip. If not, it's not really a big deal. It just helps to hold it in place for stitching. Go ahead and place the strip down, covering the line that you drew. You want to make sure that the bottom lines up with the bottom of the pocket and that there is overhang at the top. Now tuck the overhang over the trim. Starting from the bottom of the pocket, top stitch down one side of the divider strip. You want to go across the very top of the strip and then back down the opposite direction. Now trim off any overhang that you may have anywhere on this panel, and if you're so inclined, feel free to add a rivet at the top of the pocket. Now grab the remaining lining panel with 2 zipper pocket panels, the zipper accent, and 9-inch zipper with a pull. Start by prepping your zipper. Make sure that you burn or otherwise secure both ends and add the pull. Taking the lining panel, fold it in half and find your centers. Take the zipper accent and run some double-sided tape along both long outer edges. Using a ruler, place the accent piece 4 inches down from the top of the panel. Place your panel on a cutting mat and slice a line directly down the center of the accent piece. Now turn the panel over and very carefully trim away the lining. Be careful that you don't trim past where the double-sided tape is. Now put some double-sided tape along the edge of the opening. Remove the backing of the double-sided tape, flip the panel over, and place your zipper. I get asked about my zipper jig all the time, that silver thing you see me using here. I purchased it from Myth Leather Company, and I can tell you right now that I do not currently know the status of the business. I know that Garth is sometimes active in the So Whatever group, and he would be the best person to ask about getting one. I'm not sure if he's going to be bringing them back to his shop or not, but you can definitely contact him there and see what he says if you are interested in getting one. By the way, if your zipper does not hang over the opening as far as mine does in this video, don't worry about it. I always overcut my zippers. If you haven't already done so, mark your centers now. Then add a vertical line just so you can better see where your center mark is. Now you want to mark a horizontal line above your zipper. I typically place mine around 1.5 inches above the edge of the zipper, but if you place it a little bit lower, your pocket will be deeper. The higher you place it, the shorter your pocket's going to be. I have no idea what my camera was doing right now. It just did not want to focus. Probably because I didn't want to focus either. Go ahead and lay some double-sided tape along the edges of your zipper if you'd like. Find the center of one of your pocket lining pieces. Ignoring my little goof up here at first, go ahead and place the panel right side up, making sure that the top edge aligns with your horizontal line on the back of the panel. Now top stitch around both the inner and outer edge of your zipper accent. Lay the panel on a cutting mat again, open your zipper all the way up, and then make a slice down the center, being very careful not to slice through your zipper. Turn the panel over and trim away as much of the center as you can, being cautious once again not to snip into your stitches. Now grab some fray check and go ahead and seal up those raw edges if you like. Now lay the remaining panel over the first one, right sides together, clip them together, and then stitch them together. You can trim off any overhang or excess pocket piece that you did not use. Now double check to make sure there's no issues with your pocket and that you can get your hand in there and that there's no holes or any of that stuff. You can trim the corners if they fall into your seam allowance just to lessen bulk. On the exterior back panel, if you have not already found your centers, do so now. Lay the interior and exterior panels wrong sides together and clip in place. Make sure that everything is lined up properly and baste the two panels together. Repeat on the front panels. Put the front panel aside for now and pull out the back panel again. Also, you will need the pattern piece for the main panel. Line up the pattern piece with the centers of the panel and clip it into place. Something that might be helpful to you is if you make snips on either side of the placement location on the pattern piece, you can flip the tab up for placing any of your anchors, and then you can flip the tab back down for the next time you need to use it to cut. Go ahead and place your anchors in their proper places and clip into place. You can now remove the pattern piece and any clips that are holding it in place. Baste the anchors in place. Now set everything aside and grab your piping. You're going to want to make snips the entire length of the piping. This is going to help with it getting around the curve without being all wonky. And make sure that you do not snip your stitches. When you're done, grab one of your panels and grab some clips. I like to leave the end of my piping unstitched just because it'll make the next step a bit easier once this is basted on. Starting your stitches about 2 inches away from the edge, baste the piping onto the panel. Try to stop your stitches a couple of inches ahead of where you initially started stitching. And now it kind of turns into a game of back and forth, where in order to close off the end of the piping, you're going to want to pull back the fabric covering so you can expose the piping on the inside. You want to make sure that each end of the piping meets up with the opposite end to end. No overlapping. Here you can see I just added a little bit of double-sided tape to the end, because what you want to do is fold the edge of the fabric over so it gives you that nice clean end. Now here's the part where you're going to begin trimming from either side until you can get the ends of the piping to meet up perfectly together in the center. Be careful not to trim off too much because you don't want it to collapse in on itself. And here you can see I'm adding another piece of double-sided tape just to hold the two ends together so they don't shift when I fold over the edge. Tuck those edges in as well as you can and cover it with the fabric, and then picking up where you stopped, go ahead and complete basting of the piping around the edge of the panel. Here I was just using my hemostats to push the fabric down so that my foot would go over it, but you could also use a hump jumper or some rolled fabric. Go ahead and repeat on the back panel. And I'm going to shut up now because I'm going to zoom in and let you see what I'm doing a little bit better this time. Next, pull out your gusset as well as the deco straps that we previously created. Using a ruler, mark lines from short edge to short edge that are 2.5 inches wide on both sides of the panel. Find your centers if you haven't done so already. Now mark your centers from long edge to long edge. Hey kids, guess what time it is? It's double-sided tape time! Yeah, I know that was lame. Whatever, shut up. So you're going to want to take this tape and plop it down in the center of each of those straps, but make sure that you leave a 1/2 inch gap on either side of the tape. When you get to either of the end pieces, you still want to leave a 1/2 inch gap between the end of the strap that's closest to the O-ring, but you want to leave a 1.5 inch gap on the end with the D-ring. Starting with the center strap, remove the backing to the double-sided tape and line it right down in the absolute center of the panel. Once you have that first piece down, the rest will be a lot easier. I like to use a ruler to keep it along the edge of the panel as well as bumped up against the straps so that I can get the best alignment possible. Just be sure that you are not pulling the straps tight. You want to basically lay them wherever they want to lay without being too loose or too tight. Using a removable writing tool, mark a line about 1.5 inches in from the edge of the panel. Make sure you do it on both sides. Top stitch each strap at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, pivoting about 1/2 an inch before you hit metal. For a much cleaner look, make sure that you leave your threads long and pull them to the back so that you can tie them off. Once you come to the end straps, you're going to keep doing exactly what you've been doing, except you are going to use the line that you drew as your pivot point. Once you're done stitching, grab a ruler and go ahead and start marking where you want your rivets. I typically put 3, but you could put as few or as many as you want. Once you have all of your markings, go ahead and punch your holes and install your rivets. Once you're done with your gusset, go ahead and set it aside and then grab the pieces for your zipper panel. Once again, I'm going to bust out my double-sided tape. I like to put the tape down on one edge of each panel. Taking one of the exterior pieces, I will lay the zipper down right sides together, right along where I placed the double-sided tape. I then place one of the lining pieces right side down over the zipper. Once that's in place, I baste it down at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then of course I bust out the double-sided tape again because I like my panels to look nice and clean. Now, this may not be ideal for everyone to use so much double-sided tape, but my machine can handle it and I don't gunk up my needles, so it's not an issue for me at all. Feel free to use clips if you can't use as much double-sided tape as I do. And then I flip my panels out and make sure that they look nice and neat before I go and repeat all of that on the other side. Once all of that is done, I just give it a little roll a couple of times with my leather roller. You could also use a press if you need to, and then find your centers. Please do not ever ask me why my pinky likes to shoot up to the damn sky all the frickin' time. I have no idea. This particular step is not a part of the pattern. Pay no attention to it unless it's something that you like. I needed an alternative place for where I could put my bag label because I had no space for it on the front, and I had already closed off my back pocket, so I literally had nowhere else to put it. I came up with this idea almost last minute. Here I am going to deviate a little bit more. I needed to top stitch this side of the panel so that I could get the top of my bag label aligned properly with where I wanted it to be. But if you were smart and actually picked proper fabric to put your label somewhere else, you can go ahead and top stitch the entire panel at this point. And now we're just going to pretend that none of that just happened, and I'm just going about my business, top stitching the panel like I should have done. This is your reminder to add your zippers. I repeat, add your zippers. Now grab all of the pieces for your gusset. Making sure that you tuck the edges of the straps down. You want to sandwich exterior to exterior right sides together and clip them. At this point, you can baste it together if you would like, but I always wait until I've got all of the panels together. So if you're like me, go ahead and add your lining into the clips and then sew all of it together at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once you're done, repeat on the other side. Now you can flip your panels so it's right sides out. It doesn't matter if it's more lining side out or exterior side out. Flip it in the way that you feel comfortable so that you can easily maneuver the panel underneath your presser foot so that you can baste the sides of the panels and top stitch by the strap connectors. So this is where you're going to want to top stitch and make sure that you pull those strap connectors out of the way. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could stitch them down at this point because it's not going to get in the way of the zipper panel. But I kind of like having them flapping free in the breeze. Go ahead and clip the edges, and once you have everything clipped, just baste around both sides. And now that that part is done, we can finally get to the last part of the assembly and be done with this thing. So first I'm going to bust out my stapler because this comes in very, very handy. I just want to make sure I'm fully loaded before I take off. Place one of the exterior panels on top of the gusset and make sure that you line up your centers. And then you can staple or clip them into place. Just be sure that if you are using staples, you keep the staples within your seam allowance so that it protects your fabric from anything that could be punctured where it's visible. Also, it makes removal of the staples a lot easier. So now flip your bag over and try and get it at an angle where you can easily baste it on. I recommend basting it before you do the final stitches. As long as you get it on there, you can take your time trying to stitch as close to the piping as you can. So if you did use staples to hold everything together, you're going to want to remove them at this point because you don't want them getting caught in your machine. If you need to go back and reinforce your stitches or stitch closer to the piping, you absolutely want to remove the staples first. So at this point I had some footage of putting the other side on using my cylinder arm, but that footage was completely destroyed by a glare, so just pretend you saw me do everything on my 8700. Go ahead and trim down your seam allowances by half, which should drop them down to roughly 1/4 of an inch. And now it's time for the binding. the absolute worst part about this bag that I despise. I'm just kidding. I'm slowly starting to enjoy doing binding. The more I do it, the better I get at it. Yeah, I'm lying. I hate it. I still hate it. Anyways, I will clip my the ends of the binding, which I am using waterproof canvas, just so it's a point, so it can kind of tuck underneath the other end once it gets around, if that makes sense. If not, pretend I didn't say anything. Now, if you don't know me by now, you will never, 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 ever, ever, never know me. Because I love my double-sided tape. So it should be no surprise to you that I'm actually using it to attach my binding. It just helps hold it in place a little bit, and I can make adjustments to it without it slipping. But I also use clips. So I'm going to speed through this because if you're making this bag, you should already know how to do binding. If you don't know, then I suggest you learn how to do it from somebody who actually knows what the hell they're doing. Either using the double-sided tape or clips, whatever is up to you. Go ahead and start wrapping your bias tape or your waterproof canvas around one of the edges of the bag. And right about now is a great time for you to switch your foot out for a zipper foot. This will help you get a little bit closer to the piping so that your seams are a little bit tighter. I do want to say that I do not recommend sewing from the front or back panel side. It is always easiest to sew from the gusset side. I screwed up. Pretend I'm doing it right, okay? There, you see? I flipped it over because it sucked and was not working. And then we repeat everything on the other side. After checking to make sure that I got close enough to the piping, it is time to flip this sucker out. Hey, check it out. We're done.